Aloha, everyone. Thank you for joining us again. Last week, we talked about microgrids versus traditional grids. And before that was what is a microgrid? And as we continue, let's talk about what makes a microgrid and unpack the main components. And then we can see how they can revolutionize the way your business handles energy. So, first up, generation. At the heart of every microgrid are its energy sources. Unlike traditional grids or the utility grid that we know so well, these usually often rely on large scale centralized power plants. Think coal, gas, nuclear. Microgrids are all about diversity and flexibility. So, this is the thing that we like about it. They actually use renewable sources. Solar panels and wind turbines really are the stars here. So, they're clean, green, and a cost effective machine. You know, it for the most part. Okay. In 2024, tapping into these renewable sources, really, it's not just good for the planet, but it is smart for business. But then we also have to think about the other conventional generators, right? So for times when the sun isn't shining and the wind doesn't blow, microgrids really can include conventional generators powered by natural gas. Uh, some of them even have diesel generators. We've gone to a lot of military bases, and they have a lot of diesel generators. But at the end of the day, they provide a reliable backup scenario to ensure that you have continuous power supply, right? Number two in this energy and microgrid mix, uh, next up, we know it's energy storage, right? These are kind of the unsung heroes of microgrids. Why energy storage? Why store the energy? Well, renewable energy sources aren't always consistent, right? Think intermittent, variable. The solution, batteries. So I remember, quick story, I remember going to they call it a knock, this control center. And I remember we were in there and they were showing the control systems, and you see all these screens all over, and they were showing us all of these, peak times of, what the solar is doing. And you could actually see all of these things going. And the next thing you know, you saw this huge drop. And I'm like, what's going on? What is that? And they're like, oh, that's a cloud. Oh, that's a big cloud. Oh, that's a and it was interesting because it was variable the entire time we're in there, because depending on what's going on in the sky and how much, sun is actually able to come through. So it was definitely a clear understanding of how important being able to have the battery storage to help create a more stable power system. So that's why we need batteries, right? Think of them like giant power banks, right? When there's excess energy, like a sunny day in the middle of summer, that's for solar. It gets the stored energy and puts it into the batteries. Then, when there's a need, like during a cloudy day or at night, this stored energy can be used. They have also innovative storage solutions, right? So beyond batteries, there's other stuff like flywheels, and even hydrogen storage is coming up a lot. More people are talking about utilizing hydrogen. So businesses have a host of options to choose from when they base what they're looking for, within the battery storage. You've got lithium ion phosphate, you've got, flow batteries. So there's so many different types. The third part of the microgrid, and to me, arguably the most crucial component, is the control system. This is the brains of the microgrid. And in 2024, these systems are smarter than ever. With automation and AI, modern microgrids really shine. They use advanced software and AI, this artificial intelligence algorithm, to manage energy flow, optimize efficiency, and even predict future needs. And that's been really interesting to see. They also have a pretty user friendly interface, right? These aren't just your old school clunky control systems. Today's microcontrollers, They're really user friendly. They've usually got a sleek interface that lets you monitor and manage your energy needs with just a few clicks. I mean, many of them are putting them on their phones and iPads that they're able to kind of control remotely. So it really has continued to step up the technology opportunity here. Number four is the distribution network. This is the energy superhighway. The distribution network within a microgrid is kind of like veins in your body, right? It transports the energy, generated energy to where it needs to go and then back and forth. But there's a twist, right? Number one, it's smarter. Number two, it's safer. Microgrid distribution networks are often more advanced than traditional grids. They're designed to handle the variable nature of renewable energy, and they can intelligently reroute power outages during maintenance or whatnot. And there are a lot of power grids throughout the country that cannot handle this two-way power of power going from the generation, let's say from the utility to your home, but then also going backwards, right? And being able to do that. So some states, they actually won't let you put solar on your house without putting a battery because they don't want that excess power to be able to come back, right? Number five is interconnections, right? Playing nice with the traditional grid. This is kind of adding on to this distribution network, right? So while microgrids can operate independently, they often need to interact with the main grid. This is where internet interconnections come in. So this seamless integration or good interconnection systems allow microgrids to smoothly switch between operating independently, island mode, and working in tandem with the main grid. So this flexibility for maintaining energy reliability and really maximizing economic benefits uh, is really key. And last but definitely not least is security systems. Guarding your energy castle, right? In an era where cyber threats are real, protecting your microgrid is crucial. I can say that as a microgrid guy, right after we talk about, especially as you start to deal with higher level customers, with larger campuses and larger responsibilities to the community and those that they serve, bigger businesses. Almost immediately after the conversation about energy comes how safe, how secure, how are you able to protect our customer data, our IP, our business, all of these different things, right? So there's two different types of threats that we really need to consider. Number one is cybersecurity, like we're talking about. Advanced encryption, regular security updates are a must to keep your microgrid safe from cyber threats. And quite frankly, I really would recommend making sure that you have a cyber team that is able to do this. If you cannot hire one, then find somebody. There's groups out there. We that's actually what makes me excited is because prior to my current situation, we built microgrids. And one thing I can say is most of us guys that are experts in energy are not really experts in cyber. So when you ask them, "Hey, how are your cybersecurity protocols?" Many of them will say, "Yeah, they're good," because they've seen what it says on the box. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they actually know it. Whereas in my current situation, my company, not only do we have the energy chops, but we also have the cybersecurity chops, right? We actually have four divisions that really understand it. So when I say we have the security protocols in place, it's because I have an entire division. That's all they do, right? So when you're looking at these microgrids, consider making sure, just do it. Make sure you've got the right cyber team in place. And if you have to, make sure you bring them out from outside to help really design and maintain your system. The second type of threat is physical security. So we just need to, I mean, we can't forget about good old fashioned physical security measures like fencing, surveillance, security, officers, right? This will help protect your microgrids from physical harm. And we've seen some of that craziness happen last year where people are, literally spraying water, you know, shooting at your microgrids and just doing some really crazy things. So, you know, this is really important. Now, as we look to the components, why should businesses care? And why should your business consider a microgrid in 2024? And I cast before I used to be 3 R's, but actually I started to understand that there's 4 R's in this. The first R is resilience, right? With extreme weather events on the rise, having a resilient power system like a microgrid truly can be a lifesaver, right? Number two, reduction, cost reduction and GHG reduction. Doesn't matter which one you look at, over time, microgrids can offer a significant savings on energy costs, right? Uh, you're talking 25-ish years, is what they look at. And payback periods, if you design this right, I've seen payback periods between 7 and 11 years. But when you factor in other considerations like the non-utility cost benefits, you could talk about being able to recoup your costs in a much shorter period of time. Number three is responsibility towards sustainability. So it's no secret that consumers and stakeholders are demanding greener practices. A microgrid can significantly reduce your carbon footprint, right? This goes back to the reduction, the GHG reduction. The fourth R, and this is the one that has become new for me, and it's because my wife says that I am a rebel. I consider that energy independence, right? With a microgrid, you're less at the mercy of grid outages and the price fluctuations. During these past, during the Russian-Ukraine war, I can't even tell you how bad it got for some of our customers. So one way to help reduce the challenges that come with this is a microgrid. Implementation tips, right? So if you're ready to get started, here's some tips for implementing a microgrid. Conduct a needs assessment. Understand what your energy needs are and what your goals are, right? What is it that you're looking to do? Is it one of these 4 R's? If so, what's the priority? Because, I mean, just doing one of those R's is good, but you really could start looking at how each one of these could help your business, right? This will guide your decisions on how the microgrid is designed. Number two, consult with an expert. Work with experienced microgrid professionals to design, install, maintain, operate your system so that it meets what you're looking for, your requirements. Number three, plan for the future. Technology evolves rapidly, right? Ensure your microgrid design is flexible enough to accommodate future upgrades. And that's really important, right? Because of this. So in conclusion, as we embrace this new year, microgrids truly stand out as a smart choice for businesses aiming for resilience, efficiency, and sustainability. Understanding the key components of a microgrid is the first step in harnessing the power of this innovative technology. So are you ready to empower your business with a microgrid? The future is bright and is powered by smart, sustainable energy choices like these. We will see you next week, and we will be in Hawaii next week for RE Plus Hawaii. So we will see you from the islands. Aloha.